My friend Luke Strange is joining me from Cool Hand Electric. Hello, Luke. How are you?
Doing great.
Questions come into the radio show, and one of my listeners wants to know why their light bulbs keep blowing out. Could that be a light bulb problem or an electrical problem or something in between?
Probably getting tired of me hearing this, but there's different variables, so I can help. You know, I can definitely help them kind of maybe pinpoint, narrow it down a little bit, if you know. But so if it is a light bulb, the old incandescent ones, um, that those will blow out quite often. So they need to be switching to LED by now. But even on LEDs, so here's the thing: the LEDs, they have little computer chips inside of them, and that's what it is. It's a light emitting diode, and they're very sensitive to voltage fluctuation. So we'll see it a lot around here. We had the crazy storms in the end of May into June, and that power lines were being, wind was blowing them a bunch or branches hitting. Those type of incoming power problems can cause gnarly damage to lights. So if there's a very popular lights that are put in nowadays that are, we call them disc lights, but they will go bad. They're very sensitive to bad voltage. And then a lot of people don't have surge protection on their breaker panel itself. So even if everything that voltage is good, if your air conditioning unit kicks on and things kind of dim a bit, that can cause damage to those LEDs. So LEDs are great when it comes to saving on electricity, and the reason being is they don't pull as much power, but they also aren't as hot. So like the incandescents, they used to use incandescents as like heat lamps to keep food warm, in restaurants because they're hot. But on LEDs, they're not very hot at all. So they're great for keeping the house nice and comfortable, not having to use the air conditioning as much because the temperature is way better. But they are more sensitive to fluctuating voltage. So when big motors are kick on or storms, that can really cause some flickering. So things to check if it's incandescent, swap them out to LEDs. There's so much benefits to that. That's a pretty simple, easy win. But then if they're still having that issue, maybe have someone qualified check to see if there's surge protection on the breaker panel and proper grounding system, because that'll allow that extra voltage a path to go as opposed to going through your sensitive stuff.
So what you're saying is, whether it's the old incandescent lights, which are pretty much being phased out, almost outlawed, I believe, they had the filament. That's the old Edison technology. Kind of cool, because that was around for 100 years, right? And yeah, and it still does work. And you can buy these cool bulbs they call the Edison bulb, which looks kind of old, and the filament glows in a yellow orange. It's kind of neat. So what you're saying is, it's not just that filament that is likely to have an issue with, maybe a surge or something, but also the newer technology, because some of these light bulbs that are LED have these chips in them. And we know what can happen when there's a surge. It can take out, all kinds of smart technology, right? The boards on things, whether it's a modem or your garage door opener. When you get these surges, it can fry these boards, right, inside equipment. And so that's what could be happening in a light bulb. And some of these newer light bulbs are not inexpensive. They're coming down in price, but you pay pretty good money for these light bulbs that are supposed to last a very long time and use little energy.
Something else I've seen, and trying to think about some other things I've seen. If it's older light fixture, and it's only happening with that light fixture, then it might be time just to pick out one that's better. Because sometimes the connections where the bulb is screwed in, sometimes those connections get weak, and if there's a bad connection, it can be type of deals making a bad connection. So I've seen flickering that way. And then obviously if the wiring from point A to point B is in bad shape, that's not a good deal at all. So have that checked out. But the common ones are bad connections and bad voltage.
Yeah, agreed. As always, Luke, thank you so much for your electrical expertise. I appreciate it. And so do our listeners and viewers.
Absolutely. Appreciate you.